All right, welcome to the Boot Hill Sports Network and Shooting Hoops in the Boot Podcast. Sectional talk and quarterfinal talk here, guys. Got Mark Manley here, Jeremy Abrams, Chris Brown, and Charlie D. What's up, fellas? How are y'all?
Good. I bet it's a lot better up there in Portersville, though.
It's pretty nice up here. I can tell you that much right now.
How's
Oh,
dog?
shucks.
You got them Bulldogs fired up.
Tell you what, man, even when I was in school, I always thought Portersville had one of the best student sections, and they showed it again last night. Boy. Showed out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I love the video with the kid.
Yeah.
Out of town, Charlie's finally back in town.
Okay, first of all, hop off. That's the first part. Second of all, I traveled to Puxco Monday. I was back in town.
You didn't go to Puxco.
Actually
You
went to Bloomfield.
I went to Bloomfield. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did
Lord
you
Almighty.
take the van? Did you take the van or the Jeep?
Oh, we took that beautiful, beautiful van, that stallion of a van.
That's right, the Boot Hill Sports Network van.
Oh.
He's gonna come out of
All right,
school
guys,
one day. It's gonna be painted.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty. The Final Four is just around the corner, guys, in all Class 1 through 3, man. And, of course, 4, 5, and 6 districts kicking off this week. But our main discussion and coverage has always been Class 1 through 3 down here in the Boot Hill. And we're going to start out tonight with the ladies. The ladies always go first. We're going to start out with that Class 2 sectional matchup between the Malden Green Wave and the Neelyville Tigers. Neelyville won that one 78 to 58. So Malden, Cinderella season is over, and Coach Ron Riddle still got to be proud of his Green Waves and what happened there, man, looking down on them. And Neelyville will take on St. Vincent. Guys, Neelyville has one of the best girls programs around, as we discussed about that last week. They'll play St. Vincent. St. Vincent's 25-3. Neelyville's 24-5. So that should be an interesting matchup. Both of them allow Neelyville gives up 43 a game, and St. Vincent only gives up 31 a game. So it's going to be an interesting Class 2 there. So wishing both of those teams in our area good luck, and maybe a winner moves on from the Boot Hill area. Neelyville kind of stretched out, but not too far from us, man. And then, of course, we got our Class 3 ladies matchup. Last night, Chris and I were in Portersville, and we got to see the Portersville Lady Bulldogs and the Woodland Cardinals go toe-to-toe, man. And Portersville come out ahead in that one, winning that one 65 to 46. Chris, we seen an interesting matchup, and Janiyah Smith, who we're going to have on later, by the way, on this podcast, had a heck of a game for the Lady Bulldogs, and Coach Fowler and the Lady Dogs will be moving on, and they'll take on a Steelville team that beat Kemp St. Louis 68 to 31.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having Janiyah Smith on, man. She led the way as she has most of the season. The girl put up a 26-piece, I like to call it. Was just doing everything right, getting to the free throw line every time you turn around, knocking down probably a pretty good percentage of her free throws, causing, stealing the ball. I would love to see her overall stats. But, it wasn't just her. She's got a full team that complements her very well. The Lady Dogs are rolling there in Portersville, and Coach Kelly Fowler has them doing so. So excited about having her on later on.
Yeah, Chris, one thing you had talked about, man, and you had mentioned kind of out throughout the season, really, is their interior passing. And I got to see up close and personal view last night, especially when they were on our end as we're on that stage area. And, man, what a job they do on the inside passing-wise.
You can tell them ladies know each other very well. They don't just get together and see each other for the first time. They're just on the basketball court. They all know each other very, very well. You can tell those teams, it reminds me kind of the Campbell State Championship team a few years ago. You could just tell that they have played together for a while, because not every team has that kind of chemistry. But, man, that interior passing is beautiful to see. They each one of them are so unselfish. If you don't believe me, just watch a game. If somebody's open down low, somebody's going to find whoever that is. It doesn't matter who it is. So hey, they're just rolling right now, and that's got to be a big tribute to Coach Kelly Fowler and Coach Chelsea Bidwell, and plus all the support there at the school that those two coaches and them girls get on a daily basis, and the community.
Yeah, you see Ronnie Adams chiming in there, good supporter of ours, man. And, of course, he had a son last year, athlete, man, won a big award from us. Mason Adams has moved on. And Jeremy, insight on this game you got? Any thoughts, discussion?
Well, I think that unfortunately, the short time that we had Coach on last Sunday night, I think her enthusiasm just rolls down throughout that team, and you can see it every game that I've got to see. And then I got to see portions of the game last night, and it's the same old Bulldog team that I've seen all year long, led by Smith, and they got some shooters, and they're tough. They're really tough, and I really think it starts at the top with Coach Kelly and this team. I think they match up well with their upcoming opponent. We'll talk about that, but as far as the ladies competition out there, hands down, Portersville is the team to beat in the Boot Heel area, and I like their chances to head to Columbia. I like that, but it just looked like Portersville going out doing what Portersville's done all year long.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about this before we come on air, that Portersville, I don't know if the ladies have ever been to a Final Four, so this could be their first trip. We'll see if we can't get that information when Janiyah comes on. She might know a little bit with Coach Feller there. Charlie, what you got thoughts on the game?
It's just the same old story of this season. Portersville being Portersville. Really, they were to me, they just looked like the better team out there. They look like the scariest matchup in Class 3 right now, just because of how multifaceted they are, how they could assault you in the paint, but then they also have some shooters out there. Irby, I saw her shoot the ball multiple times, and really, I mean, she would miss the first two, and then Portersville would get the rebound, and they just kick it right back out to her because they trusted her, and she was just getting wide open looks against this Woodland team. And it's not a knock on Woodland. They were a good team this year. They were 15-12. I mean, they won their district and represented for a reason. It's just that they were outclassed and outplayed by Portersville.
Yeah, I think they beat a very good Arcadia Valley team there in that to get there, because that was a 22-5 team. So yeah, Woodland was nothing to sleep on, and Portersville kind of took that big lead, and they actually held on to their lead. And man, what a game! But now they got another Cardinal coming up, and we're going to have that game for you Saturday as well on Mission.TV and the Boot Hill Sports Network. Chris Brown and Michael Jeffries and myself, along with Tina, will be in the house once again. And I'll tell you what, I love going and watching them Lady Bulldogs play with that crowd, man. A great atmosphere. Cheerleaders do a great job. That dog pound that sits over there by us, man, gets the crowd routed up. And Steelville is 10-12, guys, but don't let that record fool you. They made it this far for a reason. They're going to be there to play. And away from home, they haven't done too good. They're 1-6. And Portersville 7-1 on that home court. So definitely going to be a big advantage for the Lady Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are averaging 61.6 a game. That's a lot of points for a girls basketball team, and especially a Class 3. Steelville only averaging 44.7 points allowed. Portersville's giving up 35.5, and Steelville is giving up 45.5. Now the winner will move on to the Final Four in Columbia, and they're going to take on the winner between a very tough Principia team and a very tough Centralia team. So the winner of this game has got their work cut out if they want to try to capture that first championship. Chris, give me your thoughts on this game and going forward.
Well, of course, you'd mentioned Portersville. Actually, they're 12-0 at home. They have not been beaten at home this year. They lost to Delta on the road. Yep, and they
You're right.
lost.
They're 7-1 away record, and they're
Right,
9-0
right.
at home, according to this.
Well, I'm just including the Boot Hill Conference tournament
Playoffs.
and yes,
Gotcha.
12-0 at home. I almost hate to even mention that, but because of don't want to yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what, it don't matter. These girls right here ain't worried about no superstition. They know how to play basketball. Well coached. Like I say, Steelville coming in, they got a 5-6 neutral tourney record, 1-6 on the road, only scoring 45 points a game. They were 1-7 in the first half of the year, and when I say first half, I mean through December. And then they were 9-5 in the second half. Not really sure if they got a player in the second semester that actually got to play, or if they just gotten better as the season rolls along. I'm going to try. Well, I'm not going to try. I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch that Steelville Kip St. Louis ball game. I'm going to go on Mission TV and try to watch it tomorrow night, just so I can get an idea of what they're facing. Now, I have seen some pictures of the team on Facebook, and they do have one girl. Looks like she's got some size. She's probably a 6-footer. But it's going to be their first meeting between Steelville and Portageville. I didn't see any record of any meeting before on MSHSAA. Steelville, they have 3 seniors and 4 juniors, 5 sophomores and a couple of freshmen. So they're well balanced there. So we're just going to have to see. I know that Steelville fans have got to be excited for them. I know that they were district champs 3 of the last 4 years. Steelville was, and they also captured a 3rd place Class 3 finish in 2021. So success is not anything that they're looking for the first time. They have had that before. So you can throw the record out the window. I hate to even say 10-12 because at this point it means 0. That's what it means.
Yeah, they're 2-0.
Yeah, they're 2-0, and
That's right.
And so like I say, it's going to be a madhouse at Portageville, Jim Bidwell Court, Portageville High School, come Saturday, and I just can't wait to see this one get on the road and see all the support from both teams. As I imagine Steelville will travel well. Of course, Portageville, they're going to have their fans there as well, so it's going to be a good time, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, Woodland had a great cheering section last night as well. As the boys basketball team was there to support their girls. And I expect that to be the same way. And speaking of the girls, Lady Dogs, we got one of them in the studio right now. About to bring her in. Lady Bulldog, Janiyah Smith. We spotlighted her brother a lot of last year, but now the spotlight's going to be on her. Welcome, Janiyah, to the show.
Hi.
How are you, young lady?
Good. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on your win last night in a fantastic game.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations for sure. Tell us a little bit thoughts going into that game, Janiyah. I know you are a senior. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you've been down this road a time or two. How does it feel to capture a district title and move on in the sectionals?
It honestly feels really good, especially it being our 3rd time this year, or my 3rd time going into my high school season, whatever. But honestly, I'm really proud of all the girls working hard and listening in practice, doing what we do in practice and executing that into the games and working hard.
No. All right, Chris, what you got for Janiyah there?
Well, I got a few things for Janiyah. First off, Janiyah, welcome into the show. It's so good to have you. You're an elite athlete. And I was looking back, and we had Coach Fowler on for a little bit Sunday night, actually. She said that you'd been playing since your sophomore year. I went back and looked at a record. Since you've been playing, Portageville Lady Bulldogs have a 69-17 record. They've won 3 straight district titles. We were talking on the show before you come on about the interior passing. But tell me a little bit about your teammates. How close are you guys? What kind of relationship do you have with all your players that are on the Lady Bulldogs ball club?
Honestly, I feel like our team is like the closest team I play with. Honestly, when I played volleyball, our team was close, but like our basketball team, we talk so well. We talk about everything. If we like need to discuss something, we'll get together and discuss that. Um, we just I don't know, we just fit together perfectly for some reason. And we've been playing for so long, like through the high school year. And this year is just like our communication is just like on the spot.
Yeah, a lot of times with high school basketball, I've watched quite a few games in my years. But one thing that sticks out to me with this Bulldog Ball Club is defense. You guys came out and you really put the clamps on the on the Woodland girls. I think it was 3 or 4 minutes and they still hadn't scored a point. You did that in the first quarter and also the third quarter. Is defense something you guys really work on during practice, or is it mostly offensive minded? Tell me a little bit about what your mindset was coming into that game.
We always say defense wins championships. And so we work on defense every single day at practice. We worked on defense today. We work on defense literally every single day. Our 2-2-1 press, our 2-up press, our 3-2, everything. Every single day we run through it, make sure everybody knows the position we are in and where to go. If they ask questions, we just ask questions to Coach K and she answers. And honestly, defense is the biggest part of our game, especially during pressing, because that's where we get most of our points from.
Yeah, that shows with that
What do you know
35.
about
Go ahead, Chris.
Right. No, I was just going to say, what do you know about Steelville, Janiyah? Have you guys watched any film on them? Any scouting reports you guys can share with us here tonight? What do you know about them?
We haven't got to watch any film yet, but we do know there's a couple shooters on their team. They have some height. That's pretty much all we know for right now, but I'm pretty sure we will watch film soon.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she's talking about defense. They only give up 35.5. And then last night, as you said, and you and I talked about it on the broadcast last night, for 4 minutes there in the third quarter, Woodland did not get a point. And that's where kind of that distance got even further. And Woodland got in that hole. And you girls, just put it on them, man. And that goes to show you that practice and that defense really paid off because execution in a ball game is what did it, and that's why you're moving on to the quarterfinals. Janiyah, you got a chance to be a Final Four team for the city of Portisville. That's got to feel good. How does that feel? And maybe being the first girls team, I do believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, to make that trip for Portisville.
It honestly feels really good, and I think this year is really our year. I can just feel it coming, and honestly, I just really hope we get there. I don't want to jinx ourselves, though, but we just got to execute our defense and our plays and our offense and everything we've been practicing at practice. And our second team, our JV team, actually helps us so much during when we're running our offenses and they're running man defense or something. They help us so much.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, you guys, you got into a little bit of foul trouble, not just you, but there are a few of your teammates got into a little bit of foul trouble in this game. But when you guys go out and you get subbed in, a lot of times you don't see the communication with the one that goes out to come in. But you girls, this seems like y'all are just all on the same page. I have a feeling that's got a lot to do with Coach Fowler. Talk to me a little bit, just for a minute, about what Coach Fowler means to you as a person.
Coach K, she's such a great coach. She works hard in practice. She does so much for us, out of practice, and make sure we're all good and we have everything that we need. I can't describe it.
Good enough.
Jeremy, you got anything for Miss Smith?
I do. First of all, Janiyah, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jeremy Abrams. I'm the voice of the Tigers, but it's not an accident if you can see what I'm wearing here. I'm 100% behind the Lady Dogs, and I'm on the bandwagon. I do want to say congratulations. I've got to see several of your games this year, and you're definitely a senior leader, and it shows on the court. And when number 23 is on the court, there's a difference. You can just feel the difference in it. Where we talked to Coach K, and she said, your sophomore year, something just seemed to click with you. What was it that clicked with you that made you want to be and become the superstar that you are right now here in Portersville?
Well, my dad kind of got in my head a little bit, but I was like, why would I be playing a sport if I didn't like it? And I was like, I have to go all in, like 110%, because there's no point in playing a sport if you're not doing that. And finally just clicked, and I was like, I actually do like this sport. And so after that, I was like, I'm going to try my hardest at all times and become the player I am today.
Awesome.
That's a fantastic way of looking at it. I mean,
words
you
of
couldn't
encouragement.
have prepared a better answer than that. So, well, and that's the thing. It helps when you're really good at it too, because you're definitely a star around here. And not to go on too long with you, Chris kind of touched on one of my other subjects. Coach K, Chris knows her much more than I do. I've only actually spoken to her just the one time, but she's a basketball-minded coach. She played basketball in high school and in college. I was going to touch a little bit more on that. What behind the scenes, is she just all basketball? Because I talked right before you came on about how that leadership, you can see it roll down from her into the players, and you can tell there's a really strong connection between Coach K and you guys. So is she just 100% basketball all the time, or is there a dark side to her that we don't know about? Like, is just a little bit more about Coach K and her knowledge of the game that she brings to you guys.
Coach K is way more than a coach to us, and more like she helps us with everything. Like, she just makes sure we have everything or I gotta put a better way to find, like, Coach K she's such a great coach. In practice, she helps us. She gets into the drills when we're doing the drills. Like, she does everything for us, not just basketball. If we need a ride to basketball practice, she'll come pick us up. If we need anything, we can come to her and, like, ask her for anything, like, basically anything. Like, if you need food, she'll pay for your food. If we're going on a field trip and you don't have food, she'll make sure everybody eats, and she'll pay for it. She's just more than a coach. Honestly, to me, she's more than a coach, and I love her so much. And I'm really happy that I got to spend 4 years with her as my basketball coach, and more than just my coach.
Well, so she's a coach, she's a mentor, and a friend. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Most definitely.
That's great. That's fantastic. And Janiyah, all I can say is from here on out, good luck the rest of the way. I'm rooting for you all the way. I want to see you go not just to the Final Four. I want to see you win the championship for Portersville. Best of luck to you and the rest of the Bulldogs, and even down here in Caruthersville. We may be rivals, but we're pulling for you. I promise you.
Thank you.
Charlie?
First of all, Janiyah, congratulations on advancing to the quarterfinals of
so
state tournament. My first question is really asking about how this is going to be your last game at Portersville. Because of course, if you win, you go play in Mizzou. How much of an effect does that crowd play into the games this year, especially since you guys are undefeated at home?
Honestly, that crowd means so much to me, especially because we didn't have it at the beginning of the season. But last night, the atmosphere was just so good, and I feel like that played a lot of role into our defense and, like, us getting really hype during our offense and scoring a lot and getting steals on our defense. I know it's going to be different if we make it to state, because not as many people are going to be there. But I still think the atmosphere will be there, and we're going to just do what we need to do.
Absolutely. And my last question, what's your plans after high school? Do you consider advancing in basketball, or is this just it for you in your basketball career?
I'm actually going to Mineral area to play softball and basketball.
Okay.
Nice.
Good job, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
All right, I guess that's going to wrap it up. You good, Charlie?
Yeah.
All right. So, Janiyah, we will see you Saturday in Portersville. And your Lady Dogs, we wish the best of luck to you. Thanks for joining us right here on Shooting Hoops in the Boot podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right. That is senior Janiyah Smith of those Portersville Lady Bulldogs who continue their quest for a state title, guys. And it's good to have a team that we cover on a day-to-day basis still able to cover us. We know we are down to one, and that one is the Lady Bulldogs that we cover on a regular basis. Now, let's move on to talk about the gentlemen. We'll start off in Class 1, guys, where the Risco Tigers took on the Richland Rebels for the third time this year. Risco gets another win. They beat Richland 74-59. I don't think, no surprise here, as we all had Risco moving on. Risco's been in our top 5 most of the year, all along. And then Eminence and Chadwick played each other. Chadwick got that win, and Risco and Chadwick's going to do battle Friday night, man, at 6:30, and that's going to be a heck of a game, guys. Risco and Chadwick. Jeremy, what you got on this one?
Well, I know we always say throw the records out. I mean, this is a brand new season. It's the postseason. But I still can't shy away from Risco's record and the way that they're still beating people. I know that Chadwick, they're still a 20-win team. And I said, just like at the Puxico game, I said on the air, you're a 20-win team that's doing something in the high school sports and high school basketball. So, I mean, it's still going to be a battle, but from everything I've seen, I just can't go against this Risco team. They just seem like they are hitting on all cylinders. And, I don't think it'll be a blowout. I mean, all these teams have come this far for a reason. So, again, that's where the point where I can say you can throw the records out. But Risco just seems to be on a different level right now. Chadwick, if you're listening, prove me wrong. But if not, I like to see. I think Risco advances and heads up state. Chris.
Yeah, I'm looking at Chadwick. They did beat South Iron earlier in the year, by 4, and then they've got that game in common with Richland. Where both of them pretty much beat them by the same difference. Yeah. But man, Risco, they're top tier to me. I mean, they're 27-2. I think that's what they are.
Yep.
Wow, I mean, they're well tested, battle tested. Coach Blankenship, he's got them. He's a longevity coach. He's been there a while. He's kind of like Coach K with the Lady Dogs. I'm sure he's more than just a basketball coach to them boys or to them young men. I mean, he's a mentor, a friend, and probably a tough basketball coach. And I just look for Risco to move on in this one too. I look for him to go to that Final Four and make a lot of noise in Class 1. And all the fans at Richland, I'm sure they all know what they got in this team, and I'm sure they're going to be behind them 100%. Charlie?
Absolutely. This Risco team is on another level this year. They are just, smashing and grabbing every single game. They are playing some just definitive Risco basketball, if that's to say anything. But I don't want to sleep on this Chadwick team. This team, like Chris mentioned, they beat South Iron, and earlier in the season, they played Puxico and only lost by 4. I mean, that is a impressive feat, especially considering what we saw Monday night, Jeremy and I. But I can't doubt Risco this far into the season, because their 2 losses are neutral court. They're undefeated away and home, and they are just on a whole different level right now. I got Risco advancing to Columbia.
Very good call. And speaking of that, tail of the tape, like Chris said, Risco is 27-2. Chadwick, defending state champs, are 20-7. 2-1 at home. Risco 6-0 at home. Away record, Risco 7-0, as Charlie was talking about. Chadwick at 4-1. This game is in Sparta, Missouri, where the seating capacity is 1,380 guys. So they're going to pack them in there come Friday night. Points a game, Risco averages 74 a game. Chadwick 59, but here's the difference in defense, guys. Briscoe gives up 50 a game. Chadwick gives up 40 a game. So that is very impressive defense by the Chadwick Cardinals. So another Cardinal in the playoff round. And, man, I'm telling you what, right now, I got Risco going all the way to the state title game against a very solid Green City team. And those are my predictions for the championship game in Class 1. Now, let's move on to Class 2, where all the action was right here in my hometown of Hayti, Missouri, right 2 blocks from my house at Hayti High School Monday night. We had the privilege of watching Hayti and South Iron. South Iron found themselves down by 16, guys, and they did what Panthers do, boy. Crack, scratch, claw, bite, make a lot of buckets, guys, caused a lot of turnovers by the Indians, and they came back and won this thing 60-57 on a fine performance on one of our guests we're about to bring in here in a minute, Sawyer Huff. Sawyer had 36 points. I got key notes of the game. Hayti led 31 out of 32 minutes, guys. They had an 11-point lead going into the fourth quarter. With 1:47 left, a key moment, Isaiah Love fouled out for the Indians. And then back-to-back turnovers. South Iron produced every one of those into points. And then 124, they tied it. And with 1:07 left, Huff tied it up again, and then the free throw put them ahead for good, and Hayti loses to a very solid South Iron team. Chris, you were there. Give me your thoughts as a outside perspective looking in.
Hey, first let me just start with Sawyer Huff. Never watched him play before, really hadn't heard much about him, as I followed Portersville, and we're Class 3. But, man, this young man right here, I'm going to tell you what, you talking about strong, going to the hole. He just looked like he couldn't be stopped. And one thing that stuck out to me, Hayti was up pretty much 99% of the game. But, led by, Mr. Huff that we're going to have on, they just would not give in. I mean, they just, every time you turn around, you would look for Hayti to put the foot on the throat, as they say. Sawyer Huff would not let that happen. And another thing impressive was when it got down to crunch time, seemed like there was 2 or 3 and ones that he was driving. Just unstoppable, just totally unstoppable there at the end. Kudos to Sawyer Huff. He led them to this win, put them on their back. I know it wasn't just him, but man, he put them on their back, and it was an impressive showing by that young man. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you got that right. And speaking of that young man, we're about to bring him into the studio right now. Welcome to Shooting Hoops in the Boot, Mr. Sawyer Huff. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good, man. First of all, congratulations. And second, thanks for joining us right here on the Boot Hill Sports Network, my man.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
And I got a stat for you that you might not even be aware of, but I think I'm your lucky charm, okay? I've seen you play twice this year right here in the Boot Hill. We did your Cruzville game and we did your Hayti game. Both games you scored 36 and you won, my man. I think I'm your lucky charm, so I'm going to ride with you, my man.
Hey, you might be.
Hey, so give us a little background on Mr. Sawyer Huff, man. I know a lot of our fans out here have not seen very many games of South Iron. Like I said, we were fortunate enough to get 2 of you, but that's all we really got. And tell us a little bit about you, your background, and your teammates, your coaches, and just fill us in on Sawyer Huff, the man.
Well, I've been at South Iron all 4 years of high school. I've played with some really great teammates every year. I've played with some really great guys. And this year included, I've got some really great teammates this year. Got, just all those guys around me. They all pitch in every game. They give everything they got just as much as I do. So I really appreciate my teammates more than anything else.
Yeah, Arlo, man. Arlo's a good point guard for you, ain't he?
Oh, he really is. He makes my job way easier.
So when did you actually start playing basketball? So you got junior high background, you got elementary background, or tell us a little bit about that.
Well, at South Iron, we start early. We got this thing called Little Dribblers. You start as soon as you get in elementary school. They lower the goals for you, and you start playing basketball as soon as you can. But it's
Man,
just a
that's
great
awesome.
community. Our community really supports our basketball, and everybody looks up to the high school team. I did when I was younger. Everybody wants to be like
Yeah.
those guys.
Cool. I know Hayti came up there a few years ago. We made that trip on a Saturday to Annapolis, man, and that's when you had that good South Iron team. I believe they went to the Final Four that year, if I ain't mistaken, or might have got
Yeah.
beat in the quarterfinals. But yeah, that was a good Saturday trip for us. Me and Chris made that. Jeremy, you got anything for Mr. Sawyer Huff?
Well, you know I do. You can see behind me right here. I'm the voice of the Tigers. So yeah, and I don't want to say you single-handedly dismantled my guys because you do have a great team, like you mentioned. You really do. But 36 points is a lot in high school sports and in basketball, and you've done it twice now here in the Boot Heel. So Mark may be your lucky charm, but I haven't forgotten what you did because the Tigers were in a pretty hot streak there, and you and your South Iron, and you mentioned community, and I'm glad you did because we had a lot of feedback with your community, the fans that were there, which, by the way, travel well. That's a 3-hour drive or so, I believe. You guys had just as many fans in the Crothersville gymnasium as we did. So that's got to be something that really, I don't know a whole lot about South Iron, how big your town is or whatever, but it sounds like you guys are pretty basketball savvy.
Oh, for sure. Our community is amazing. I haven't saw another community like it. We have on our population sign, we have 345 people is what it says.
Wow.
But we show up huge for basketball, and they're amazing. We have pie auctions every year. Everybody shows up for the pie auctions to help fund the basketball team. But it wouldn't be possible without the community supporting us.
That's completely awesome. And 345, that was lower than I expected. So I think you guys must have brought some neighboring fans with you too, because you had a lot there in Crothersville. So in your high school career, is this the farthest you've made it so far? And I apologize for not knowing.
Oh no. When I was a freshman and a sophomore, we won the state championships in Class 1. And we had Drennan Dinkins when I was a freshman. He's the coach's son. He's tearing it up in college right now. And Martez Burse is playing college basketball too when I was a sophomore. And those are guys that I really looked up to whenever I was, coming up playing varsity. And last year we were ranked in Class 1, but we got beat by that really good Chadwick team, and they beat us, but they earned it. And this year I'm looking to go back, but we're gonna do our best.
And you're a senior. What's it like? Because you're obviously a leader. You got some younger guys on this team. Do you consider yourself? Do you realize that the rest of the guys or the younger guys are looking up to you? Does that play a factor in the way that you go out there every night?
That's part of it, but really we all look up to each other. Like, we have some freshmen playing our team, but they bust their tails every game in a way that even I'm admiring them a little bit, because we got two of them that they just play their heart out, play their guts out all the time, do whatever they can. And really our whole team, we got some juniors that are really, everyone just dogs it out as much as they can every night.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question that there's a lot of fight in your team, and there's no give up, because being down by 16, 11 after 3 and then 16, you guys come back and win that really says something. My last question is, what's going through your head when you're down by 16 in what could be your final game of your career?
Oh, we're just doing everything we can to not make it the final game of the career.
Yeah.
We talked to those guys in the huddle, and we've been in that position before. This year we faced a lot of really tough moments, some roster changes and some sickness and playing without guys. But we've always overcome those, and we think it makes us better when we play in those situations. And it showed up when those guys, they didn't give up on me, I didn't give up on them, and they had my back all night.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, I had the privilege of seeing you in Crothersville. I saw some of the tape. I didn't get to go to the game, but I saw the Hayti film. Keep doing what you're doing. I wish you and the rest of the Panthers the best of luck the rest of the way through. And I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Chris, what do you got?
Well, first, thank you for being on the show, Sawyer. Coach Dusty Dinkins, talk to me about him a little bit. When I go to MSHSAA and I look at South Iron and I see the history, looks like a little bit of a dynasty there. I mean, 3 straight championships, a district title straight down the line. It's got to be attributed to Coach Dusty Dinkins. Talk to me a little bit about him. Tell us about him and what he means to you and the basketball team.
Oh, Coach Jenkins, there's nowhere to start with him. He will not talk about himself. He'll never toot his own horn, but he's phenomenal to play for, honestly. And I'm sure he's watching this right now, and he's hating on me a little bit for it, but he is great to play for, and the community knows it. We just had a front page article in the St. Louis paper for him getting his 500th win as a coach down here, and they had some crazy stats about his ratio win-loss percentage, but he is phenomenal to play for, and he teaches us so much coming through and playing through that adversity. Never stop. 32 minutes. That's our mindset every game, and he really just pushes us to what we need to be.
So I'm assuming you were a little dribbler when you started. Was that correct? You said?
Oh, for sure. Yes, I was.
So when you were a little dribbler, did you foresee your success that you're having and the team had? Is that something you seen coming? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I never really understood what it was like, because I was a little guy and I was looking up to these, high school basketball players, and I thought they were just the greatest thing ever. And I wanted to be just like them, but I didn't know what that was really all about. So looking up to those guys and being able to live it now, looking back, and I'm trying to give back to the younger generation now with those little guys as much as I can. And it's just a really great full perspective.
Well, Sawyer, I've watched a lot of basketball in my life, and you'll get to the age where you can say the same thing. But it was really a pleasure and an honor watching you, the way you just took that game to Hayti there at the end, man. It was just a pleasure to watch you. And like I say, I wish you and the South Iron Panthers the best of luck from here on out, and good luck, and to all the community as well. And thank you for coming on tonight, bud.
I appreciate you having me.
Charlie?
Thank you for coming on the show, first of all, Sawyer. My first question is looking a little bit forward. How does it feel that you guys will be hosting your quarterfinal game against Puxico in front of that crowd in Annapolis?
Well, we're blessed to have that. We love playing in our gym, but we're really blessed and thankful to be making it this far and playing against a really good Puxico team. And I know their community backs them about as much as our community backs us, and it'll just be a fun game for us to play. I'm really excited for the environment and everybody showing up.
Absolutely. They pack well. Jeremy and I were at the Bloomfield game, or at the Valley game first round, and that whole side for them was just orange and black. It was insane to look at. My second question is, what have you seen from Puxico's film, from just overall watching them, that you think you can use against them?
Well, I think Puxico, they're a great team. We've been following them for a while. I just enjoy watching basketball in general, so I like watching them. They're fun to play. They came up and played Potosi, and that's a common opponent for us. But I really enjoy watching them. They're a really good team. They're well coached, and they have some really high character guys. I like watching them play basketball.
Absolutely. They are a great squad over there. My final question is, what are your plans after high school? Are you going to college, or are you going into work, or are you just going to play basketball in college?
Yeah, I plan on playing basketball in college for a while. I'm not sure yet. I'm uncommitted, but I'm looking to narrow that down towards the end of the season. Right now, focusing on Friday and what's coming up, but definitely looking to play in college.
Awesome, man. I tell you what, and if there's anything we can do our way to help you get some exposure, that's what we're out here for, man. And we'll lead that direction and get film to where we need to be and all that. Put a good word in for you. I even mentioned it on the broadcast. I said, this kid's got to be somewhere playing college basketball about this time next year. So that is good news, man. I hope to see you on that court somewhere next year. Sawyer, I guess we're going to wrap this thing up, man. Shout out to you and your teammates. I will be in the house Saturday to cover the game, so we will see you then, man. So good luck to you and your Panthers.
All right, I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, thank you. That is Mr. Sawyer Huff joining us right here on Shooting Hoops in the podcast, man. Two great guests, two great student athletes. we are awesome, and we are blessed to have the connections we have and the help to make things happen, man. I just reached out this morning on Facebook, and, man, those Panther fans came alive and made this interview happen, man. Reached out to Sawyer herself and reached out to a few more. We wasn't able to come to terms on them, but hopefully after Friday and Saturday games, we still got another podcast left to do before we close this thing out on the year and we get some more guests in there. Guys, now we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the game that Jeremy and Charlie had. The Puxico Indians are going to take on Sawyer Huffs and crew South Iron Panthers Friday night, and that is Puxico and Valley. Puxico won that one 74-40 in a game that was only close for one quarter. Jeremy, you did a play-by-play. Charlie did a commentary and a little play-by-play. I think y'all took a couple quarters apiece. Fill us in on that, Jeremy, in that game that you got to see close up and personal about how good those Puxico Indians are. They've been number one in our poll all year long, and they showed it the other night.
Yeah, I was excited when we figured out that that's what we were going to do, was go cover that game. We can sit here and talk about teams and look at their rankings and standings all year long and, put them in our top 10. But when you actually get to see the Puxico Indians in person, it'll change the way you feel about this team, because I don't think that I was watching, and this is no knock on South Iron, who, I got to see in person too. No knock, but when I watched Puxico, I felt something different. I felt like I was watching a team that already has that state in mind, that state title. Not saying that South Iron doesn't either, because both teams are really good. This matchup's going to be off the chain. I wish I could be there. Let me just put it like that. But for Puxico, now you got to realize, once again, throw the stats out. They were playing a good Valley team. Valley made it this far also, and they held them to 40 points while scoring 74. The fact that I watched a sectional game where the entire fourth quarter was the turbo clock says something about Puxico. They can do it all. They've got size. They got 3 starters that are 6'4". They have a guard, Logan Burchard. He ended up with 28 points, and I'm telling you, this kid couldn't miss. I don't care where he was at. He would pull in from the arc for 2, or whenever he shot a 3, it was going down. He had 10 in the first. He had a dozen in the second quarter. He had another 7 in the third quarter, and then he just had 2 points in the fourth quarter. He decided to back off and let some of their other stars. They've got the Long brothers, Kaysen and Carson Long, and solid team, great coaching. And when you want to talk about in South Iron, I hope that, I don't know what the capacity is, but both these teams obviously travel well and pack the stands. I'm telling you, right across from us was where the Puxico fans were, and they actually bled into the bleachers in front of us. That's how many fans there were. Bloomfield hosts 2,200 people, and I could count probably on only just my digits how many empty seats there were. So it was a great crowd, great atmosphere. But Puxico absolutely stole the show. Like you mentioned, only one quarter was close. That was the first quarter. From then on, you want to talk about 5 tools? It seemed like every player on the court was a 5-tool player led by Logan Burchard. And it was just an honor and a privilege for Charlie and I to get to watch that game, call the game. And I want to say this because I know there's a bunch of Puxico fans watching. They come up and commented on the podcast and our coverage of games. I want to say thank you, all the kind words and respect. And they were really wondering. They wanted to know all night long. They had people asking us about Hayti and South Iron, and we gave them our opinions on both. And we had a couple of fans watching on Charlie's phone, watching the end of that game. So these fans know these are smart fans, and I think it just trickles down. Another community that's really behind their basketball team. And all I can say is you guys might want to just get ready for your ears to be ringing after that game, because it's going to be loud and proud in that gymnasium. And you guys are in for one. I'll tell you that. You guys are in for an absolute slobberknocker, as we like to say. Charlie, what else did you pick up on that I didn't mention?
It was just how well-rounded Puxico was. Puxico came out and just looked like the better team. They made, I don't want to sound demeaning to Valley, but they made Valley look like it was a regular season game in January. They just, after the first quarter, they flicked the switch and just got that steamroller and just started moving. It was really easy to tell. This team is the best team I've seen all year. Hands down, best team I've seen all year. And it's, I don't know how to word it. It is such a shame that people are doubting them still, because they have shirts that say "Prove them wrong." So
that's one thing that we talked about. We talked about it on the broadcast. I don't know who's doubting Puxico, but I just the way that I said on the broadcast, whatever you're doubting, you're wrong because there's nothing to doubt.
Like they came in there into a sectional game and turbo clocked the team. They were up 30 at midway through the third.
Yep.
It was insane to watch. And this game against South Iron, I really think, are the best two teams in at least this section of the Class 2 bracket. Obviously, you go down into the District 11s, the District 9s, and all of them. You know, I'm scared to even talk about them because they're state ranked over there. But these two teams, whoever wins this game, I think has a spot already set in Columbia at that finals on the 13th of March.
Very well said, Charlie.
Don't forget South Iron's the one that ended the streak of Charleston.
Or Puxico into the streak of Charleston.
Puxico, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
South Iron beat
That's
Van
right.
Buren. That's right.
Yeah, 14 district titles that Puxico put a stop to.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to give a shout out to one of my teammates way back in 1989 there, Mr. Jimmy Shepard, baby. Shepard could shoot that three.
He sure could. He sure could.
I tell you what, man, before the 3-point game ever came along, I'll never forget this. We were in 5th grade basketball. Jimmy Shepard was in 5th grade on the court we still play on to this day. Hit one from the out of bounds line. That's how far he could hit it, even in the 5th grade. Didn't even realize he was out of bounds, and he drained it nothing but the net. We knew right then we had something special.
Right. He was one of the best corner shooters I've ever seen. I mean,
that's right, man.
He's open in the corner. It's going in. Yes,
that's right. He was a wingman, baby. He ate it up. So, Jimmy, man, appreciate you, man. I haven't talked to Jimmy probably since, man, we went to state in football when William Moore played. I think that's the last time I've actually seen him in person. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody that's commented and joined us, man. We got some South Iron fans. We got some Puxico fans. We got Risco fans. Man, we got it all around the Boot Hill, Portisville. And, man, now let's get in and talk some more discussion about that South Iron Puxico. We'll go over some tail of the tapes. South Iron's got an 85.2 winning percentage. They set at 23-4. Puxico has an 89.7 percentage. They set at 26-3, guys. Home records. We'll talk about the home record because it is going to matter because it is a home game for South Iron. They are 5-1 at home. And Puxico is 8-1 on the road, guys. So, man, it's going to be an even matchup. Points a game. South Iron averages 61 a game. Puxico 69. Defense, they're about even. South Iron gives up 49 a game. Puxico gives up 45 a game. So you can tell the tail of the tape, man. And common opponents. Chadwick was a common opponent. South Iron lost to them 57-53. Puxico beat Chadwick 69-65. Clearwater, another common opponent. They both beat Clearwater. They both beat East Carter. They both beat Greenville. And that tough Neelyville Tiger team was a common opponent. South Iron lost to them 61-56, but I do believe they had some key players out in that game due to the flu. And, of course, Puxico beat Neelyville 53-42 was that score. And they both lost to Potosi, and they both beat Valley pretty solid. So, interesting matchup. I think it's two heavyweights. It's going to go toe-to-toe. And, man, I can't wait, guys. I'm looking forward to being there and actually seeing Puxico for the first time this year in person. Jeremy, give me your thoughts on this game, predictions. Lay it all out, Bubba.
Well, I know we talk a lot about defense. Everyone talks, and, Janiah Smith said it best. Defense wins championships. However, seeing both these teams make scoring look effortless. So I don't know how much of a defense is going to be a factor because these two teams go up the court so fast, led by Burchard and by Sawyer Huff. So, I mean, the tail of the tape, okay, like we said, throw it all out the window It is so hard seeing both these teams in the time span that I did, both at their best. I have to stick with Puxico because I do think Puxico is the best team, just like Charlie said, the best team I've seen all year, including South Iron. But South Iron, it's a 1 and 1A kind of thing. But I got Puxico, and it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a shootout. And forget all these low-scoring playoff games that we've seen. This is going to be a high-scoring affair, and it's going to be it might come down to the last shot. It's going to be whoever gets their hands on the ball last. And I'm going to give the edge to Puxico by 4, we'll say.
South Iron to me, I mean, I learned all I needed to know about them the other night when they come into Hayti, trailed by as many as they did, and still end up leaving that gym with a victory. That tells me a ton about them. Puxico, here's what I know about them. They got 3 losses on the year. They lost to Thayer by 8. They lost to Potosi by 6. They lost to Woodland by 10. All 3 of them teams are still playing. Mm-hmm. So that tells me that, Puxico, like I say, they've been my number one. Man, predicting this game, there's a little bit of a check mark's going to go to South Iron for being at home. But I'm going to have to say, I'm still going to go with Puxico, but I'm going to say it's going to be 5 and under. And that one may even go into overtime. But you talk about must-see TV. I know I throw that term out there. This game right here has got to be must-see TV. Mm-hmm. There ain't no doubt about it. But, I mean, 2 class communities, 2 class teams, 2 class coaches. Good luck to both of them. It's almost kind of like a state championship game already, in my eyes anyway. But, man, what a battle it's going to be. But if I have to pick one, I would have to say Puxico. But you know what? Whoever wins, they're winners already anyway, in my eyes. So, Charlie?
As the only person that got all my predictions right when we did the Sunday show.
Don't get kicked off.
As the only person, I am known as the right predictions man now. Mark laughing up there.
The guru, baby.
I'm taking my victory lap. Jared has his headset off. I don't care. I think that this game is, like I said earlier, the best possible game. Whoever has this, or whoever wins this, I believe, has their spot already packed in the final 2 of Class 2. But I got to go with the Indians, man. They look solid. They look good. This is barring another Sawyer Huff 36-point game. If Sawyer Huff gets 36 points, then yeah, it's South Iron all day. But I think Puxico wins, and I think they win by 6.
Nice prediction, Charlie. Charlie has been spot on, man. Now we're going to move on to the Class 3 sectional game. We had East Prairie and Woodland. Woodland won that one 82-67, guys, and Woodland will play Jefferson to look to move on to the Final 4 there. Little discussion on the East Prairie Woodland game, Jeremy?
Yeah, we got to see East Prairie close up, and Woodland, I had East Prairie winning this game because I thought they were on the momentum they had, and Woodland struggled a little bit towards the end of the season. But Woodland proved me wrong, and they acted like they did earlier in the season. And, I don't know a lot about honestly, I didn't get to see the game, so I don't know how it was as lopsided as it was, because I really thought East Prairie put up a bigger fight than they did. But I think that was close to a 15-point deficit.
It was a 15-point game.
Yeah.
And that really shocked me after the East Prairie team that, I saw knock off the Tigers, and that the game that was what it was. So, I mean, if something, East Prairie either wasn't clicking or Woodland is a lot better than I think. So I got to tip my cap to Woodland, and that's all I can say about it. To win by 15 against East Prairie is saying something. So Woodland is got to be fired up, as they're going to take on Jefferson, who I don't know a whole lot about other than record.
Woodland, they've beat Scott City twice, guys. Scott City's been high on my top 10 all year. I watched some of the highlights of that game today, and they got some shooters. They got some inside guys. They fell behind in that game, I believe. 7-0 or 8-0, and I think they had to call an early timeout, if I'm not mistaken. But they rolled back. Next thing you know, they're trudging ahead, pretty good in pretty good fashion. Woodland, great team. I got them advancing over Jefferson Festus. They did beat East Prairie. East Prairie kind of took it to the Tigers a little bit. That was a close game, but I just think the right team won this game. Woodland, I believe they were just a little bit head and shoulders above East Prairie. I know East Prairie had a good year. Coach Gary Scott, can't take nothing away from them. Got some good players on that team. But what Woodland's body of work to me just tells me that they've got a few losses that are kind of questionable. I know they lost to Kennett. Might have been some sickness there. Not really sure. But I'm high on Woodland now. I mean, they beat East Prairie at East Prairie. That's tough to do, and they did it. And they even come from behind fashion. So I'm high on Woodland. Charlie?
I'm also high on Woodland. I think that the feat of, first of all, going in to East Prairie, a school that has never even had a sectional game before, that their fan base was so starving for, really, and going in there and just, flat out winning by double digits by 15 is impressive. I know Noah Johnson still had a pretty big game for them, but it did not matter in the end, as I believe it was probably Woodland just was a little bit more deep on their bench and had just a little bit more scoring, or a little bit more help from their leaders out there. And on the future side, them against Jefferson, this is a good Jefferson team. They don't have too many points though per game. They average 59, while Woodland only gives up 58. So that's a 1 point positive right there. While Woodland, there's no common matchups, but Woodland's just been dominant most of the year. Minus that slide they had, they beat East Prairie by 15. They've just kind of really taken over Boot Hill basketball for a little bit this year, and I think that continues. I think they beat Jefferson and advanced to Columbia.
Well, I tell you what, they got the work cut out for you. The winner of this game does, because Principia and I believe who was the other team that's waiting for them. Let me get it right here. Principia,
Montgomery County.
Yes, yeah. So two good teams, and the advantage that Principia already has, being a private school and can recruit, but that's another subject and another podcast. All right, guys, I guess go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to mention, like you mentioned, Principia, that's also a potential matchup for Porterville, because that's at Principia. They got both teams in the boys and girls in the Elite Eight. Principia plays Centralia, and Centralia is a 28-1 team. So you talk about another game that people are going to be watching. Porterville, should they, and I think they will advance after this one. They got a good one right after coming up in the Final Four. But yeah, that like you said, with the recruiting is a whole nother story. But yeah, both Principia teams in the Elite Eight.
All right, guys, I guess that's it for me. Closing thoughts? Anybody?
I think having Janiah Smith on, what a great leader and example of the Portersville Bulldogs. She was so well spoken in the way that she talked about her coaches, her teammates, and the community. And to have her and Mr. Sawyer Huff come on, you talk about some class acts and the level of talent that I love to get the student athletes on these shows, because, man, we get to see them and what they do on the courts and on the fields and everything. But then when you get to actually talk to them and see just how intelligent and bright and knowledgeable they are, hats off to both of them for joining us tonight. And like we said, good luck to them. And every game that we've mentioned, are going to be good ones. So I encourage everyone to get on Misha TV, follow everything you can, because these are some of the best years of basketball that I've seen in 20 years of covering the high school sports. Chris, what do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm going to just piggyback off of you. Janiah Smith and Sawyer Huff, man, what two intelligent young people. What futures that both of them have, even outside of sports, just because of the way they talk. They're very well spoken. You can tell they've got great leaders around them, parents, grandparents, what have you. Leading them, and I'm just proud that they were able to come on our show. Thanks, to everybody out there, all the comments and all the fans. We love, all four of us. I can speak for them when I say, we love doing this. If we didn't, we wouldn't be. And we're proud of all the teams. And secondly, and lastly, Portersville Lady Bulldogs, a lot of times here in the Boot Hill, it gets to this point where there's, we all are rooting against each other during the season, but then it gets to the point where one team's left and everybody is wanting you to go. And there's been times I've been a Campbell fan, a South Penn fan, not ashamed to say it, because, hey, we want the Boot Hill to be successful. And so Portersville Lady Bulldogs has got the whole Boot Hill behind them. I know that they do. And I'm just looking forward to the game. And like I say, we got some good games coming up in the next, Saturday and Friday. And so thanks to everyone out there for tuning in and commenting and like, share, and let us grow. Charlie?
I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on what you said, Chris. You should go out and support the Portersville Lady Bulldogs, because this is a team that are fantastic. They are spectacular this year. They are the best women's team that I've seen this year. They just flat out, they've dominated most of their games this year. And that crowd last night, just watching them from my phone, I could tell that how loud they were and how into the game they were. So you have to come out Saturday just to experience that crowd. Part of me selfishly really wants to be able to go to that game and the South Iron game, but I got to be on assignment again. So I'm just mosey my way to. I'm moseying my way to St. Louis, baby. I could cover Arch Madness for us if we needed to.
There you go. There you
go. Yeah, that's true.
Let me cover it, man.
That's a great media path to have right there, Arch Madness, man.
Man, they're not going to give me one, though. That's the sad part. I tried.
You should have hollered at me a little sooner. I would have got you one, man.
Man, I tried. Trust me. But hey, I'll do whatever it needs to. I will do videos every single night covering conference basketball for college if y'all need me to.
Right on, man. All right, man. I have one other side note. I'm glad you mentioned the student athletes. We will have a signing day Friday right here on the Boot Hill Sports Network. Ryan Guest plays baseball for the Crowsville Tigers. Will be signing right here his letter of intent to play college baseball. So we're going to have that right here Friday afternoon for you on the Boot Hill Sports Network. I'll be there. I believe Jeremy's going to be there. Is that correct, Jeremy?
I'm going to try my best. Yep.
Right. And, of course, Charlie goes to school there. I'm assuming he'll be there.
No.
I don't know. No. I'm leaving.
I'm leaving early, and also I'm too cool to get invited.
Starts early for Charlie.
Yeah, me and my mom are leaving at 12, and also
11 a.m. tip in St. Louis.
I feel like he's got a chartered flight to these things and doesn't tell us.
I do too.
Doubt.
Is he the one making all the money for the Boot Hill Sports Network or what?
Yeah.
I'm too cool to get invited.
But anyway, man, thanks to all our guests for joining us tonight, man. Good luck to the area teams that are still alive. We will see you Friday night in South Iron and Saturday in Portersville. This is Mark Manley, Jeremy Abrams, Charlie Duckworth, and Classy Chris saying so long for shooting hoops in the boot.